Hi and welcome back to Tech It Out, and this the second part of my Razer phone unboxing and first impressions. I thought I'd start off this second part of the unboxing and initial impressions of the new Razer phone by showing you a quick comparison with the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 and the Sony Z3 that I mentioned in the first part of the video. Now, I did say they felt quite similar in the hand, but actually going back to the Z3, I realised it's a bit more rounded and the corners are rounded, whereas the Razer phone is very sharp edged and the corners are quite, pointed, whereas the Sony are rounded, as you can see. If I switch the phones on, and they're all set to maximum brightness, and as you can see it opens quite quickly. I have noticed if you don't quite get your finger on the sensor though, it does sometimes take a bit longer. I'm going to just move the Galaxy out of screenshot at the moment so you don't see any personal information. Now if I set them down beside each other, you can see there's quite a marked difference. The Sony of course is a lot greyer, the Razer phone's a little bit brighter, but nowhere near as bright and clear as the Note 5. Now the Note 5 has an OLED display, whereas these two have LCD displays. This is a 1080 display, whereas the Razer phone and the Samsung Note 5 both have Quad HD. So these are both Quad HD. This though is working at a refresh rate, I believe, on Quad HD of 30 Hz. So if I'm not mistaken, this is 30 Hz. This is working on 120 Hz. I can show you a little later where that setting is found, because it comes originally set up to run at 90 Hz. So, as you can see, the OLED display of the Samsung is a lot sharper and clearer. The blacks are very black. And looking at it beside the Samsung, the Razer phone looks quite greyed out. Now, even if I turn the two phones up a little bit towards the screen, you can probably see that. And no doubt you'll see it more if I go to a brighter page. If I go to, I've got to remember which button's which on these now because they're both different. There we go, there's the YouTube page. Now to be fair, I'll try and go to the same page. So if I just go to my Tech It Out page, so there's the Tech It Out page. And as you can see, apart from this being a little bit wider, I'm not sure why that is, probably because this is set up as a user rather than a subscriber, which the Razer is set up as. But you can see quite clearly that the Razer phone, I'll just get it back to full brightness, is quite different to the Samsung. The Samsung is much, I'd say it's more of a bluey white, but it's a lot clearer and a lot brighter, whereas the Razer phone is more of a grey white. And when it comes to angles, I don't know if you can see very well in this again, but the angles, the Razer phone greys out a lot looking at it from the side, whereas the Samsung actually stays quite clear, and you can fairly well see it nicely and clearly. The screen size is almost exactly the same. The Razer phone being about a millimeter, maybe 2 millimeters larger than the Samsung. So they're virtually the same size screen, same resolution, with this one on a much higher refresh rate than this one, and yet this one seems a lot greyer, especially at an angle, than the Samsung. So if we go into a video then, we can see a little bit of the video itself. So let's go into this one. And we get an advert from YouTube. This is what keeps most of the YouTube channels going. If I turn it, now that's on fairly low volume. If I turn it up, you'll get an idea of just how loud these speakers are. Now if I compare that to the Samsung, so we'll go back into there again, we'll try and get the same video up. And again we get the advert. Now the first time round didn't go so well for the links. Let's see if the replacement unit can do any better. And what I'm going to do is actually play them both together, so I'll try and get them started at the same time. Here goes. Hi Ian, Martin going to take it out. Hi Ian, Martin going to take it out. And to part 2. Now you can see the difference. I'm just going to stop it there. As you can see, the Razer phone absolutely destroys the Galaxy for sound. It's so much louder. It's at least 50% louder than the Galaxy. Now the Galaxy does of course fire from the single speaker at the bottom there and the headphone speaker, but even so the Razer phone is just outstanding when it comes to sound. Now if we go back to the home screen, there are a few things that you should note. First of all, you can theme these phones quite easily, and if you go to the theme installer, the Razer theme, you can download the various themes. I quite like this one, the Smokehouse theme. Download it, click on it, and it themes the phone for you. Now when you go back to the home screen, you have a new theme. And again, the quick access is themed. And even the settings is themed. It's a slightly off-white colour with a greyish brown at the top bar. Now if we go down to the settings and the system information, we can see that it's running at the moment 7.11. They've promised Oreo, which is Android 8, in the new year, so January, February, it should be updated to the newest version. Now there are a lot of settings in here. If we go into the display, you can of course do what you normally do with the brightness and adaptive brightness, but then you've got refresh rate. As I said, it can set to 90, but you can then turn it up as you want to 120, and from all reports, turning up to 120 doesn't really affect battery life at all. And all the other, of course, choices are there that you'd normally have as well. You can change the resolution from quad all the way down to 1080p if you wish. Everything else really is more or less the same. You have, though, got in addition the game booster. So if we click on OK there, with this you can actually boost the performance of games and the battery life of the phone when playing games. But also you've got this here. If you click on performance there, what it will do is it will stop any interactions from the outside world, so you won't get interruptions from notifications and emails and text and things like that, and you can get on with playing the game without being disturbed just by turning on the do not disturb button there. So you've got high performance gaming and do not disturb on, and away you go gaming. So we'll go back to the normal setting, and you've got a few games that come with the phone as well, so that's nice. We can have a look at those in a moment. Pressing and holding on the screen, of course, brings up the widgets and the settings for the Nova launcher, and there's too many in there. You'd need a whole video actually to go through all the settings for the Nova launcher, so perhaps that's for another time. If we then go into the app drawer, which you just do by swiping up from the very bottom, there's not a lot. There's only 33 apps actually installed on the phone to begin with, so there's no real bloatware, and actually bare out of the box it comes with about 26 because it installs a few games for you when you ask it to download the updates and so on. So we've got various games there, Arena of Valor, and there's a few other bits and pieces, Gear Club and so on. So let's have a look then. Shall we go into Gear Club and see what that is? Allow Gear Club to access photos. I don't know why it's asking for that, but let's trust the game developer. Now you're viewing this in 1080p, of course I'm viewing it in Quad HD, so there is quite a bit of a difference. It's updated the game, connecting to Google Play. Okay, so it's going to sign me in. Just waiting for it to complete whatever it's doing. It's on 79%, 85%. I better turn that sound down a bit, because that is very loud. And there we go. Now I've got no idea. So, tilt to accelerate, tilt, acceleration manual, and buttons acceleration. So, steering tilt, okay. Let's see what happens. So that's steering. I don't play many games on the phone, I must admit. I'm more of a first-person shooter type. Okay, tap to continue, and off we go. I'm not doing too bad so far. Oh, there we go. Oh well, I think we'll leave it just about there. So let's go back to the home screen. So there we go, we're out of the game now. Took me a little while to figure out quite how we get out of the game. As I said, I don't play games on my phone at all. It's more of a business tool for me. What else have we got here then? We got the normal range of email and games, contacts, downloads, Drive, all the stuff you'd normally have on a basic Google plain vanilla phone. Nothing else really apart from, of course, the Nova launcher. You can replace that with the Pixel launcher, the standard Android launcher, or any other launcher of your choice. Now, one thing I did notice as I was playing there, that the back of the phone here was getting quite warm, and I was only playing for a few moments, so I'm imagining that that will get quite hot to the touch after extended use. The battery, as I said, is a 4000 milliamp hour, so you're going to have a lot of actual play time out of this. Whether it's just as a standard phone, you probably get a day and a half, 2 days out of it. Playing lots of games and videos, you should get a day's worth out of it, or if you're a hardcore gamer, then of course the amount of battery life will be reduced because of the amount of power draw in the game. So what's it like for watching movies then? Well, I've turned the sound off on this because I don't want a copyright strike, but I'll just give the screen a little wipe over to get off the finger marks. And here's a trailer for a movie that's in the cinemas at the moment. Again, you can't really see the quality, and I've got to say the resolution looks really good, but again there's this greyish tint to the screen which I'm probably not used to because of the OLED screen on the Galaxy Note, but it is quite noticeable here that there is a greyish tint to the screen. And I'll just get the Note and find the same trailer and see if you can see for yourself. So now I'm showing both trailers again together, and as you can see, the Galaxy Note is far brighter, far crisper an image, even though it's a lower refresh rate. Well, for me, I can't get over just how poor the display is, even though it's an LCD versus an OLED. In comparison, this is a far newer phone. Remember, this is nearly 2.5 years old now, the Galaxy Note 5, and it's been surpassed by much newer versions, including the Note 8, which has just come out. So, what do I think of it then? What's my initial impression? Well, there's a few things that I've noticed. I'll just stop that video. In the setting up and usage of it over the past 24 hours. And the main things really are the power button and the fingerprint reader doesn't always work very well. You press it and sometimes it goes immediately straight in, but other times you can press it and it'll not read the fingerprint at all. It'll just go to the pattern or the pin input. The one thing I like about it is that if you pick it up, you do get the clock. You can double tap to wake it up. This is a screen you get, by the way, if you don't actually get the fingerprint right at the time. As you can see, it's actually working perfectly now, just to try and prove me wrong. The shape and feel of the phone, well, it's quite nice in the hand. When you get used to it, it is quite nice in the hand. Compared to the Note 5 though, it's a much more pleasant experience holding the Note 5 in your hand than it is the Razer phone. The industrial design is nice, I like it a lot, but practical wise, maybe not. They do say this is a gamer's phone though. Holding it this way, I suppose, let me just try it. Actually, yes, holding it like that compared to the Note is better, because on the Note you have quite sharp edges at top and bottom, whereas on this, strangely enough, you have quite rounded edges. So yes, holding it as a gamer's phone, it is good. You've got a nice square screen and the controls are there, so you can up and down for your audio. Now, in conclusion then, there's a few last things. The lack of a headphone jack, as is the case with a lot of new phones these days. On a gamer's phone, I find that quite strange actually, because although you may want to use it with these fantastic speakers, there are times when you want to actually use it quite quietly if you're in a group or a crowd or in the public somewhere. And a lot of people have some very good gamers headsets which these days come with a connection lead that you can plug in to a mobile phone. Now they have 7.1 surround and everything else, and as this is has the DACs to cope with all that and provide amazing sound, it's really strange that they haven't included a headphone jack. I know you can use Bluetooth. Bluetooth 4.2 is on this, of course. But even so, if you've got the headsets, good quality headsets, a jack would have been a really major plus point for this phone. What else is there then? Well, there's not a lot else I can say at the moment. Would I want to buy this phone myself? Well, I have bought this phone, but am I going to use it as the replacement for my Note 5? Well, I'm going to continue using it. One of the things I want to do for the next video really is to take some photographs, because I haven't done any of that in this video. The 12 megapixel cameras on the back there, both wide angle and zoom, I want to see how good they are. I've heard some conflicting reports on them, and of course the front camera as well, the selfie cam. I'll put some videos up in the next installment, as it were, and some links to the full res photographs I take with it, so you can have a look for yourself and decide for yourself. As I said, I'm undecided at the moment, but I think probably this will not be my next phone. For a gamer, absolutely yes, this is the phone to have. It's got the memory, it's got the battery size to cope with heavy gaming, it's got a good high quality screen with a high refresh rate. Just cannot be beaten by any other phone out at the moment. Unfortunately for me, I do like my OLED screen, and it is a lot sharper and brighter than this screen, and I do like those dark blacks. The grey tint to the screen really puts me off at the moment. I'll see how it goes as I use it, and the lack of the mobile charging, the wireless charging, that is another big thing for me. I know you can plug it in, as I said, but even so, the ability to just drop it on that pad and know that it's charging is so much easier. And again, because it's a metal construction, I suppose that's why you can get adapters, but then you block off the USB 3 again, and you'd have to unplug that to plug the headphone adapter in, or indeed any other adapters that you wanted to plug in. So finally, my final thoughts on the initial unboxing. Excellent, absolutely brilliant phone, outstanding, and the quality of it. I haven't held a phone of this high quality for a long time. It feels really solid in the hand. Screen, gaming, all of that, fantastic. Minus points, screen is a bit dim, a bit grey, and there's no wireless charging or headphone jack. For now then, until I put up the photographs and the videos, thank you for watching.